Sometimes bad things happen to us in life. We rebel and say, "This always happens to me." We attribute the cause of these events to fate or God. Spinoza says that when we get rid of this idea of transcendentalism, life will become easier. Spinoza's view of God is related to nature. Nature is different from other gods. Nature does not create things for a purpose. We humans are not on this earth for a purpose. The reason why supernatural horror movies are blockbusters is largely due to people who are transcendentalists. Let us recall what is known as the shortest horror story ever written by Frederick Brown. The last man on earth sat alone in a room. The street door was knocking. A person with immanentist thinking will think that there is a natural being behind the door who can knock, and if he is afraid, he will be afraid that this being may not have come for a friendly visit. The transcendentalist creativity is beyond measure. Who knows what catastrophe awaits him outside the door that transcends the entire universe and cannot be explained by the laws of nature? In many people who are deep-rooted transcendentalists, we see a lack of appetite for life. The commandment, "Control your soul," which is found in all the Abrahamic religions, often intertwines the concepts of appetite and sin in such a way that over time, every appetite is followed by a sense of having committed a crime. The famous original sin narrative is a typical expression of this phenomenon. Adam and Eve's ordinary appetite for the ordinary fruit of paradise was paid dearly. For Spinoza, the concepts of appetite and desire are very interrelated. The concept of desire is related to the concept of conatus, which is Spinoza's basic doctrine. Conatus is an innate inclination of a thing to continue to exist and enhance itself. So, for someone who approaches life from an immanentist perspective, appetite or desire is not a demon that we must avoid. Desire is not only for us humans, but for all beings. Animate or inanimate, it is an effort to exist. I am sure it must be surprising to you that inanimate beings also have desire, but let me explain it with an example. Let's imagine a stone in a streambed. This stone affects the water by changing its direction. In the same way, the wind affects that stone. When we look at the stone and say the stone is mossy, or the stone is corroded, we are talking about the effect of these encounters. In Spinoza's philosophy, the relation of these encounters to the concept of desire is this: the piece of stone resists to remain in existence. This resistance is also a desire. If the stone had never interacted with wind and water, it would have continued its conatus, its effort to exist forever. The fact that we often use the expression loss of appetite when talking about our relatives or depression is a manifestation of this phenomenon. The most common finding detected by modern medicine in terminally ill patients is loss of appetite. Our desires are a trigger that connects us to this world, to each other, to life and joy, along with all other beings. One of the most important lessons we can learn from Spinoza's philosophy is that we must make peace with the element of power in all beings. It is just as true to say that to the extent that we are strong, we will be joyful, as it is to say that to the extent that we are joyful, we will be strong. Some might ask, is it morally good to be strong and joyful? When a modern person asks for a good dentist to be recommended to him, he is basically asking for a doctor who is doing his job well. If we understand the word good in this sentence as compassionate, loved by his neighbors, helpful, and recommend this as a good doctor, we are not doing what is asked of us. This is one of the best examples to explain Spinoza's idea of power and the struggle for survival. The person who is strong in the struggle for survival is good. So striving to survive is not selfishness. Nietzsche agrees with Spinoza on this point. The glorification of weakness is a sign of weakness according to Nietzsche. Kim Thuy wrote on the cover of one of his novels, "Life was that the dream interpreter instilled in Alexander the Great a sense of joy, and it was precisely because of this joyful motivation that the victory was achieved."